Hey everyone, Lock on here with this week's edition of Your Nerdy News. I'm trying something a little bit different this week. Instead of my normal procedure of recording gameplay and then just talking into a faceless computer screen, I'm going to try doing some live gameplay of this new game from Undead Labs called State of Decay. Now, I'll be doing a review of this game pretty soon, but first I figure I'll get this out of the way and have it ready for upload. Alright, a lot of news this week, so let's get started. First off, pre-E3 stuff, Fable Anniversary Edition was announced for the Xbox 360. Now, me and I know a lot of my friends have been waiting for this game for a long time. Big fan of the Fable series, but 2 and 3 left a lot to be desired. And, I don't know, Fable 1 was just one of the best games I'd played on the original Xbox, and now it's coming back in full HD. No news on an exact release date yet, but from everything I've heard, it will be this holiday season. Next bit of news, this game, like I said, State of Decay from Undead Labs. From what I've played so far, just an outstanding game. $20 on Xbox Live Arcade. Apparently it will be coming to PC soon, but just really fun, addicting survival horror game. Reminds me a lot of the online mod DayZ. Little less hardcore, but you still have to find your own weapons, find medical supplies. Once you set up a camp with other survivors, you need to find building supplies, medication for everyone, food, just that sort of thing. Now, coming up on this is actually going to be like the first example of a safe house, even though you don't end up staying here long. But more of that in my later review. Now on to E3 news. Alright, first off, let's start off with Sony. Everyone's loving the Sony conference. They're saying Sony won E3 hands down. I'm still not convinced. Call me a fanboy if you like, but I'm not ready to shit on the Xbox One quite yet. They've got some good ideas for both companies. They had some great moments. They had some not so great moments. And personally, I'll be waiting at least a year to pick up a console. Make sure any game-killing bugs are out of the way, and make sure I'll be getting my money's worth, and who knows, maybe there'll even be a price drop. Now, for Sony's show, big thing first was the price of the PlayStation 4 will be $399 US, a full $100 less than the Xbox One's $499 price tag. A lot of people were big on that, but then again, the Xbox One does come with the Kinect, so the increased price does make sense. I know a lot of people aren't happy about the forced Kinect, but I have the Kinect One right now, and literally the only problem I have with it is the space requirement needed. I mean, the voice recognition for games with like Mass Effect 3 or Ghost Recon Future Soldier, it's just really fun and just adds a bunch to it. And from what I've heard for the Kinect 2, they've actually fixed the overall range you need to play it to roughly 5 feet. So that just, I don't know, I'm actually kind of excited about the Kinect 2. But anyway, back to Sony. One of the biggest announcements was that Final Fantasy Versus 13 will now just be Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 14. I don't know how I feel about this. A lot of people are kind of excited, but from my memory, Final Fantasy 14 came out before and was so awful, Square Enix actually had to issue an apology for something that they had created. Let's hope they fix it a lot for the consoles. Final Fantasy 15 and 14 will both be coming to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Next, one of the biggest announcements, and something even I'm a little bit excited about, Kingdom Hearts 3. Finally. It's been teased for years. I'm not sure if I will be picking it up because while I played countless hours of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, the main problem I have is I did not play the 5 extra handheld games, which, I don't know, gives me the feeling I missed a lot of story, and just from the transition of 1 to 2, there was a lot of story just there, so I don't even want to think of everything that I've missed. So that's actually coming to PS4 and Xbox One, which I know a lot of people aren't happy about, but hey, maybe I'll still give it a shot, see if I can piece together the story. Alright, everything else they showed the new Killzone. Looks like Killzone tends to. One of the biggest things of the announcement was that indie developers can self-publish. PlayStation 4 and Sony have a big thing with indie developers, which is good. I mean, I've had a lot of fun with indie games. Minecraft on the PC, just an outstanding game. Plenty of others. There's some great ideas, and sometimes you just don't have the money to get it out there. Alright, one of the games I was actually really interested in the Sony conference. They didn't talk a lot about games. That's why they didn't really win in my eyes. They said some really awesome stuff, and yes, they really just did a big fuck you to Microsoft. But, I don't know, E3 is about games for me. And at least the Microsoft showing, they just showed so much more. But anyway, the games on the PS4. The Order 1866. Looks kind of like a steampunk shooter-esque thing. Didn't see a lot of it. It was mainly just a cinematic trailer, but it looks like it could be pretty interesting. Next, something I was waiting for was some Assassin's Creed 4 gameplay. We've seen a bunch of the trailers, and it'd be nice to see what we can finally get from this game, even though I'm a little put off by the fact that an assassin is a pirate, but we'll see how it goes. I liked the boating in Assassin's Creed 3, and let's see if they do it well enough. One of the things that really bothered me during the Assassin's Creed 4 demo, during the PlayStation showing, was the demo froze on stage. Now, for me, that can mean one of two things. Either, yes, I realize it's a demo, game glitches happen, it could have just been an unfortunate mistake, but it seems that either Ubisoft made a glitchy game. If they couldn't even handle the demo, what's the full-fledged game gonna be like? And it's that. Or maybe the PlayStation 4 isn't as strong as we were told. Either way, it all takes time to see, but I don't know, that freeze just really concerned me during it. Next up was something, again, I was really waiting for, is the Watch Dogs demo. We've all seen the trailers. We saw the gameplay demo that just shocked everyone at E3 last year. This didn't look too much different from that. Just showing off a little bit more, some more gunplay, some more hacking. I just really can't wait for this game, no matter what system I get it on, either current gen or next gen eventually. Next up, actually one of the things that shocked me is the Elder Scrolls Online. First off, the reason I'm talking about this during the Sony showing was they announced that the beta would be on PlayStation 4 first, but the game will be launched along with PC on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which has me a little bit interested. I've never been the biggest PC gamer. I know PC Master Race, blah, 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 blah. It's just something about a keyboard just kind of puts me off of gaming. It just kind of takes me out of the immersion, and I don't know. But the fact that, one, it will be on consoles, and two, it's still a first-person Elder Scrolls game like the ones we've loved and put so much time into. So, it's definitely worth looking into. Next was a Mad Max game, just short little pre-rendered trailer of just revealing that it exists. Not sure how I feel about that. Mad Max is a pretty old franchise. It's kind of weird that they're bringing it into gaming now, but, yet another post-apocalyptic game where, hell, I'm playing one as you're watching right now. But we'll see. And we get to Sony's big fuck you to Microsoft. How there are no used game restrictions, and you can just trade your games with your friends whenever you want. The crowd was cheering. This is the main reason everyone said Sony has won E3. Thing is, though, it came out the next day that, yes, this is partially true. The thing is, they're actually doing the exact same thing as Microsoft. Only first-party games have no restrictions, can be traded amongst friends, can be traded back with no restrictions. But third-party developers, again, just like on the Xbox One, it is left up to the developer. So EA will be deciding. if we can trade in their newest games. Square Enix will be deciding if we can trade in their games, and so on. So we'll see where that goes. Next, Sony seems to be really into improving their multiplayer gaming experience. I mean, that was the main division with this current gen. If you wanted outstanding, great-looking single-player games, you'd stick with the PlayStation 3. If you were more focused on multiplayer gaming, playing with your friends, games, Halo, Call of Duty, Xbox was more your deal. Well, Sony seems to want to get more into that, and I don't know if that just means they and Microsoft are going to be trading off. Maybe Microsoft will be more focused on single-player games, but we'll see. Something that Sony is doing that kind of mirrored Microsoft is that their PlayStation Plus membership, the membership you pay for, will be carrying over to the PS4, which is really cool. There are a lot of great bonuses for being a PlayStation Plus member. You get a free game every month, you pay a little bit, and you get some nice little bonuses. So just like Xbox Gold carrying over, PlayStation Plus will do the same. Though the next thing is, on the PlayStation 4, you will require a PlayStation Plus membership to play online. So they are really kind of following suit on the Microsoft gaming standpoint. Still sounds like a great deal, kind of like Xbox Live, $5 a month. It's nothing too massive. I mean, if you can afford to buy one of these damn things at launch, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to afford a couple months subscription to play online too. Alright, next up, one of the biggest things for me during the Sony press conference, it's one of the main reasons I watched, the Destiny gameplay trailer. They announced that Destiny will be released in 2014, so that will be a little past the launch of both the PS4 and the Xbox One, but from what they've shown, I can't wait. It kind of looks like Borderlands meets Halo meets, I don't even know, but just looks ridiculously fun to play with friends. This living world sounds interesting, especially with what the PS4 and the Xbox One will both be doing with the cloud. I can't wait to see what this game is capable of. One last thing about the Sony. Once they're shown the look of the console, which in my opinion, it seriously just looks like a slanted version of the Xbox One. Nothing against that, it's a little bit smaller. I like the design of both, as much as people are hating the whole VCR look. I mean, they're nice, they're sleek looking, very simple, but still kind of elegant. But anyway, what I was getting to, when they showed it, there was this little bar aside from the controller and the PlayStation 4 itself with a couple of camera lenses on it, and looked a lot to me like the Kinect. You can pre-order this thing on GameStop and Amazon.com. It does not come with the PlayStation 4, but I don't know if PlayStation's trying to go with a Kinect kind of aesthetic. Will it have voice recognition and motion tracking too, or maybe it's just a bonus for PlayStation Move? Again, we'll find out at a later date. Let's move on to Microsoft's show. Now, the Xbox One, as I said, will be $499. That is pretty expensive, but then again, considering the fact that you get the Kinect bundled with it, that's pretty interesting. I know, again, a lot of people aren't excited about the Kinect, but I don't know, I think people should just give it a little bit of a chance. First showing was Metal Gear Solid 5, and I've never been the biggest Metal Gear Solid fan. Very complex storyline, just never really grabbed me, just kind of too out there for how serious the game seemed to try to be. But this game looked gorgeous, and the fact they are adding in a open world to Metal Gear series finally, I even might give it a shot. I might have to ask my friend JGB90 for some updates on the story, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Added on from that, some big news for Microsoft that I absolutely love, being a 360 owner. They're kind of going after the PlayStation Plus aesthetic. Once a month, people who pay for Xbox Live Gold will get 2 free game downloads starting in July. And they haven't announced a full list of what we'll be getting in July, but they started off with 2 games, Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3. So, I mean, free games, who can complain about that? I'm sure we'll find someone on the internet. I'm sure you can delve into the cesspool of comment sections, but I mean, I'm really excited about it. Free games, I mean, I really don't understand who could want anything more. Now let's get to the games. The reason no consoles included, I believe Microsoft won E3. Don't take into how much people hate the Xbox One. Don't take into consideration how much people love the PlayStation 4. E3 has always been about the games, so let's look at some games. World of Tanks, not for Xbox One, but for an exclusive for the Xbox 360. World of Tanks is a massive game online. Apparently like 60 million people play it, and it looks pretty fun. It's like 15 versus 15 tank combat. I mean, who doesn't love blowing stuff up? And this will be exclusive on the 360 as well as free to play, and no release date yet set that I know of. Okay, now Xbox One games, I swear. First one they've shown is tempting me to buy an Xbox One much sooner than later. Rise, Son of Rome. It was the first gameplay they've shown of the Xbox One, and as a history nerd, I can't wait for this game. From what I've heard, you start off as a low-level Roman legionary, and you work your way up the ranks to become a centurion. Factoring in God of War-esque styled combat, and yes, there are quick time events, but I mean, they look mainly for mainly for quick executions and free-flowing gameplay. And again, I just can't wait for this game. It seems they're very historically accurate. They even show in the on-stage demo the soldiers getting into phalanx formation. Let my branch break. Whoops. And it just looks absolutely gorgeous. It's starting to make me think that actually the Xbox One will have the edge over PlayStation 4 when it comes to graphics this generation around. Next up, a lot of people were looking forward to this, is Killer Instinct. They are bringing back the old fighter exclusively to the Xbox One. Now, news came out afterwards that people really didn't like, and they've really been crapping on the idea. Killer Instinct, when it comes out, will be free, 100%. Catch is, you only get one fighter to play as. And from then on, you basically buy the new fighters that you want as DLC. The idea behind this is you don't have to pay $60 for a fighting game full of characters you're not going to use if you don't want to. I'm assuming they'll do little demos, maybe in like practice mode, to give characters a try before you buy them, but I don't know, this just seems like a great idea for fighting games. I've played a lot of Injustice Gods Among Us, and I only use like 2 characters out of, I don't even know how many there are, and if I could have gotten that game for $10 instead of 60 just because of that, I would be a very happy person. Next up, they showed a new game from Insomniac called Sunset Overdrive. It was just a trailer, but from what I can tell, it's just a crazy, over-the-top, multiplayer-esque mutant killing game. They showed very cartoony graphics, but still more of a funny kind of adult overtone. Next up is a launch title I'm, again, very excited about. I love driving games, I love cars, and essentially car porn is back with Forza 5. I haven't seen much gameplay of it, but from what I've heard, the visuals are just outstanding. Cars handle great. I mean, when they announced this game, they had a McLaren P1, one of the 2 in the world, on the stage. I know that has nothing to do with gaming, but just seeing this car, just beautiful. Alright, they're bringing the not so indie game that was just a blowout on the 360. They are bringing Minecraft to the Xbox One with a promise of bigger worlds, better multiplayer. More of that as news comes out. I'm excited. I'm hoping I don't have to buy it again. As of now, I've bought Minecraft twice. and I'd love to not have to pay for it a third time, but knowing the gaming industry, I probably will have to, but who knows. Next up, we saw a little bit more of Quantum Break. It was more of just another trailer, but basically, from what they've described, is there are breaks in the timeline, and it's essentially your job to stop it. Alright, next up, another very heavy hitter for the Microsoft lineup. Something called Project Spark. I'm not sure if that's going to be its full name, or if this is just a working title, but it's basically a massive air quotes game that lets you develop games. I mean, a lot of people have told me it reminds them of Little Big Planet, but to a ridiculous degree. You can control, it's far more than a platformer. You can control mountains, you can control the AI of inanimate objects, you can make a rock into a warrior, you can turn a rock into a bird. You can basically do whatever you can think of in this game. I've seen them make racing games out of it. I've seen them make blackjack games, tower defense games, top-down shooters. It just seems like this game is almost has no limits. And give people a year, from what I've seen from the Trials Evolution track editor and Halo Forge mode, once the creative people get their hands on this, I think the sky's the limit. Next up, some news and features for the Xbox One are the Upload Studio and Game DVR. Now, I mean, I'm recording this on a PVR right now, so this isn't the biggest thing for me. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more gaming channels pop up on YouTube with this generation, considering you can do the same thing on PS4. But who knows, maybe they'll get some quality content for people who just couldn't afford a PVR. The Game DVR, basically, it records as you play, and then you can just go back, kind of like Halo Theater Mode. You can go back, watch your games, see how you did, you know, record the cool stuff, record the bad stuff, whatever you pick, and there you can upload to YouTube, edit it up, and on you go. I'm sure I have a bit more control with my HD PVR and my editing software, but it'll be nice to maybe see some new stuff from some new people. Maybe we'll get some new YouTube stars. Next up is a big partnership between Microsoft and Twitch TV. You can stream live from the Xbox One to Twitch, so people can watch your gaming streams. So even if the Game DVR and Upload Studio don't get a lot of new YouTubers up, we can see a lot more people playing on Twitch. If a friend wants to see you play a game, you can just stream live and he can see what everything's about. Something everyone loved, they are getting rid of Microsoft points. On Xbox One, it will be real money. Thank God. I realize we'll probably only be able to buy certain amounts, but the fact that I won't have those 10 Microsoft points just left over, I think I have 170 right now, and I literally could do nothing with. Because no matter what I'll buy, I'll still just have 10 points left over. So the addition of just swapping it out for money, outstanding. I don't know what took them this long or who thought Microsoft points were a good idea, but there we go. Something new for families with multiple people who play on Xbox. Now, again, I'm the only one in my house who touches the damn thing, so I'm the only one with a gold membership, but I can really feel for, you know, if I'm a dad someday, as a gamer dad, I'm sure I'll still be playing these things, and say I have kids who hopefully get into gaming too, and they want their gold memberships as well. I can see that getting very expensive, $60 a year for each person. Well, Microsoft has announced that from now on, or at least at the launch of the Xbox One, there will only need one gold account for an entire household. One gold account essentially spans across 10 different gamer tags. So instead of needing, you know, the family pack of 4, you can just buy the $60 for a year, and everyone in your house that will play is set. And they can play online, they can watch Netflix, they can do everything you can do on gold at a drastically reduced price. Another exclusive game that was shown, there was a little snafu during the press conference. I don't think it had anything to do with Microsoft, just the arena's audio is a little iffy. Crimson Dragon. While there was no sound play during this reveal, it just looks like a very fun game. I've heard a lot of people have said it reminds them of some other games. Basically, you control a dragon and you get into dogfights with other dragons. I don't know who on earth would not want to play a game like that. They also showed Dead Rising 3 as an exclusive and launch title for the Xbox One. It seems they kind of got rid of the cartoony look of it in favor of a gritty, real look, but they guarantee that you can still get the goofy costumes, the crazy weapons. The difference now is there are 2 gameplay modes instead of the basic timed one. And so basically you can pick the timed mode of you need to get out within 3 days, or if you don't want that time crunch, you can just play on your own and sandbox. Another big thing is they are getting rid of the workbenches. You can just combine weapons on the fly. They showed in the demo, they combined the hammer with the buzzsaw, and you can even make a tactical handgun with just combining your flashlight and your handgun, which having to backtrack to those workbenches was so monotonous in Dead Rising 2, so I'm looking forward to seeing this game. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. They've finally announced The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which they guarantee it will give us closure to Geralt's story. And, of course, the standard exclusive of Halo 5. Now, I don't know how I feel about this trailer, because for the most part of it, I had no idea this was a Halo trailer. I was excited this was going to be a brand new IP. It looked fun. You know, we just see a guy wearing a cloak walking through the desert, and then a giant thing erupts from the sand. And then we see Master Chief. So, I believe it's been confirmed that it was Halo 5. No development dates, nothing, no news. They're just basically showing that they've got Halo 5 in the works. The last thing that dropped everyone's jaws was the previously unknown release of Titanfall, an exclusive on Xbox One. The people who made Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and then left Treyarch have made this game. You remember Call of Duty 4. That's the Call of Duty everyone loved. And now they're adding jetpacks and giant robots. So this game, again, I've said it a lot, but this game looks outstanding. This is why I'm saying I'm thinking Microsoft won. They have all these great exclusives, and they just have all of these amazingly fun-looking games. Next up was EA's press conference. One of the biggest news, and I think we've all known this has been in production since EA came into the property rights, but they made a teaser trailer of Star Wars Battlefront. We are finally getting a new Battlefront game from the makers of Battlefield. DICE Studios will be making Battlefront. I don't know if it'll be 3, they just said Battlefront, but I can't wait. And then speaking of DICE, they showed off Battlefield 4. They showed a single-player campaign mission where you're running across a aircraft carrier, and then they showed a bit of the multiplayer with 64 people in it, and fully destructible skyscrapers. Even I'm a little interested in this. I've never really played a Battlefield game. I'm not big into the modern shooter multiplayer, but it looks good. Next up was, we got a teaser trailer of Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm probably one of Dragon Age's biggest critics because I loved Origins. I played through every Origin story. I put an insane amount of hours into that game. And then 2 came out, and that story was just awful. For the most part of it, you think you're fighting one group and then you're fighting another group. It was just bad. So, I'm willing to give Dragon Age Inquisition a chance. Hopefully they learned from their mistakes, but I don't know, only time will tell. Next up, another shock. They've been teasing it, but PopCap Games is, aside from making Plants vs. Zombies 2, which looks very fun, they're making Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. A tower defense-esque, Team Fortress 2-esque third-person shooter. That will be coming to PCs and consoles alike. After that was Ubisoft's conference a few hours later. Now, you know, that to be their conference is pretty much to be expected. They showed off Watch Dogs, they showed off Assassin's Creed 4. One game that no one expected was Tom Clancy's The Division. Kind of reminds me a lot of Destiny. It seems like game developers are really getting into taking MMO traits and bringing them into shooters and RPGs. So we'll see how that ends up. It kind of reminds me of Watch Dogs, so it seems like they're going into this technology future kind of dystopian aspect, so we'll see how that goes. And then they showed a new racing game called The Crew, where you can modify your cars any way you want. You can make them like rally races, you can make them to own the streets, and it's a completely open world racing game. So I love racing games, as I said before, as a 5, so bringing open world into it that's not Need for Speed, you know, I think it's worth taking a look at. Now after that, Nintendo opted to not do a big conference this year, and they decided to do a Nintendo Direct to bring it a little closer to the fans. First off, they showed off some new stuff for Pokemon X and Y, which, I'll admit it, I'm a 22, almost 23-year-old man. I'm very excited for Pokemon X and Y. I haven't been this excited about a Pokemon game in maybe ever. It seems like they're really changing up the gameplay style. I mean, I'm sure it'll still have the same old, but the fact that they're adding in 3D and just all this other stuff that I've been hearing about, it looks really fun. They're also confirmed a new type. There hasn't been a new type since Generation 2, and this one is Fairy type. I'll admit right away, wasn't very thrilled. I mean, there were rumors of Light type and Sound type, which both sounded very interesting to me. But, I mean, Fairy type, the more I think about it, the more it works. And the fact that they're finally giving dragons something to be afraid of. And I really don't know how I'm going to feel about seeing Jigglypuff beat the shit out of Dragonite. Aside from that, they showed off new Sky Battles, which, with certain trainers, and if you have certain Pokemon, like, that have flying type attributes or the ability to levitate, they can partake in this. It's basically a very cinematic, opened up Sky Battle where the two participants are basically in a dogfight as you battle. They also showed Horde Battles. We've all had 2 Pokemon appear in the tall grass before. Well, now they're upping the ante. 5 Pokemon will randomly appear and take on whatever the first Pokemon in your party is. Yep, 5 versus 1. And if you can handle it by using the moves that can hit more than one target, you can get a massive experience boost. They showed off several new Pokemon, and I don't know, just the design, a lot of people are bitching. The design looks great, but, you know, we'll see in October. I'll definitely be picking it up. Next off, they showed Super Mario 3D World. Looks pretty fun, but then again, if you played one Mario game, you've probably played them all. So, I mean, Nintendo's just stuck in this rut, and don't get me wrong, I love Nintendo. They've had some of the most innovative, great ideas I've ever even heard of, but then they just have the worst possible execution. So, well, we'll see where they lead to. Next up, they showed Mario Kart 8. Again, you've played a Mario Kart game, you've played them all. So, probably some new items, some new tracks, updated graphics. It's Mario Kart. Then they showed Wii Party U, which essentially looks a lot like Mario Party, but without Mario. So, I'm sure this will be just as relationship-ending, friendship-ending turmoil. They showed off Art Academy. Nintendo has been seeing the things people have been making in the Weverse, all the drawings they've done with just the tablet, and they want to add to that, giving people more tools, better tools. We'll see what people can create. Then they showed off the Wonderful 101. Looks kind of goofy, but crazy, and I don't know. They showed off giant robots, but for most of the trailer and the gameplay, they were just walking around and occasionally flying, so we'll see what they can do with that. Then they showed Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, another Donkey Kong game, side-scrolling. They kind of opened it up with 3D cinematics, but it seems like they still kept the formula intact. And then they finally announced Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and the Wii U, with the new characters, the Villager from Animal Crossing, and Mega Man. That's pretty much it for the E3 news. I was personally hoping for something from Bethesda. Everyone's been saying Fallout 4, Fallout 4, Fallout 4. I'd love to see a Fallout 4, but Bethesda earlier this year, their vice president said that they'd be making a lot of noise this year, causing us all to stand up, finally see what they've been working on. And so far all they've done is publish 2 games, the exact same thing they did last year. Wolfenstein: A New Order. I mean, it looks good, but I want to see something from Bethesda. I've sunk hundreds of hours into the Fallout series, into the Elder Scrolls series. I just want to know something's in the works. But they will tell us when they're ready to tell us, as much as we don't like that. Well, that's it for this week. E3 was covered, E3 is come and gone. Some great games, some great consoles. The future of gaming looks great, so I'll see you again in a couple of weeks with every other bit of news I can dig up. Thanks for watching.